Okay, now I'm going to tell you about my attitudes towards religion. I disagree with some of the perspectives that are present here on the internet on the subject of religion, and yes, possibly what I'm going to say is going to sound a little controversial, because you can't even mention the R word without being a little controversial in some manner here on the internet. I would say that the world will be a better place with more religion and not less religion, and I would have to say that the support of religion is more important than the destruction of religion. Society on a local, national and global scale is made up of individuals, and therefore there has to be a factor placed into society which has some kind of positive benefit on human individuals, and also encourages the taking of responsibility not only for actions but also for basically the contents of the mind of the individual. So although the modern schools of atheistic thought emphasize education, and I am strongly in favor of that, including education into the natural world, I'm also very aware that humans are a little more complex than just, as it were, a bundle of neurons. We are individuals who have certain key psychological needs which seem to manifest in the spiritual traditions of all nations, and as such a form of education into the benefits of each and every single religious structure is, I would say, ideal, but not in any literalistic sense. I believe, so to speak, that with the help of the knowledge that we've got from psychology, psychiatry, psychoanalysis, we can come up with a much greater emphasis upon bringing about more sanity and, for want of a better phrase, psychological balance with the help of religious ideas and religious teachings. There isn't any one singular religious format which can help everybody, but from my own personal introspection I've noticed that I am much more compassionate towards other people and much more compassionate towards society at large when I have a higher power concept. Essentially, I act more moral during the times when I believe in God of a type which is convenient for myself and seems to resonate well with me, than during the times when I do not. This gives me some personal experience which suggests that there is some good in some forms of religiosity, but the precise method of how to become religious is not something which happens overnight, and it's not just a question of obeying rules. Having rules or not having rules within any particular theological perspective is not necessarily the most important thing on the face of the planet. What is more important is how people apply those rules and how they work out which particular rules are more important to them and more important to the social group that they live in and the environment in which they live. My interpretation of what religion is about is something which helps people become better integrated into society and not less well integrated into society. The literalism that seems to have come out of a rather conservative fear of change within society has caused more problems than it's actually done any good, when essentially the people who are holding on to their own religious literalism seem to be negating the aspects of their faith which could be better for themselves as well as better for the society in which they live, and I regard that as being incorrect and inappropriate, and also being non-changing. It doesn't work well with the times. There are people, yes, who consider themselves to be atheists, but within the atheist community I've also known of a lot of people who are contemplative and reflective and in some way could be regarded as having some aspects of religiosity in them. Those who are of the saner, as it were, variety of atheists could be regarded as having some form of, not necessarily theology, but a spiritual way of looking at the world. So that has to be encouraged by all means, and I would certainly say that those people who are of the atheist community who have those particular attitudes would not necessarily fit into a stereotype of what I personally would regard to be atheistic, as in, lacking a certain quantity or quality of soul, and some people do seem to want to take their atheism to the extreme of completely lacking any form of regard for individuals or for groups, and I personally think that that is wrong on many different levels. The next development, so to speak, in religion should essentially be, in my opinion, and all I can do is give you my opinion, rather all-embracing, taking from Judaism, Islam, Christianity, paganism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, as well as science, to create a larger and more complex picture which can assist in giving people a real perspective about life itself. I don't think it's worthwhile taking away from people something which could, when explained well and when explained intelligently, do them some good. As such, the removal of religion from society is wrong, but the change, or a change, in the way that religion is understood and practiced would be correct.